time now for the Iowa Girls State Basketball Tournament on the Central Iowa Sports Network. From the smallest towns to the biggest cities, watch the Iowa girl compete for the title of state champion. CISN.TV's coverage of the state tournament is presented by Mid-American Energy, Schottenkirk Chevy of Waukee, Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottlers. Also brought to you by the Iowa Pork Producers, Shields, Fairway Foods, Una Vista University, the Better Business Bureau. Now let's go courtside at Wells Fargo Arena in downtown Des Moines for state tournament basketball.
Welcome inside Wells Fargo Arena and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union State Basketball Tournament. Wells Fargo Arena, it's time for Class 3A action as we begin Game 2 here on Tuesday morning. Hello everybody, Paul Yeager alongside Lauren Leonard. And Laura, I think the last time you and I sat next to each other at a sporting event was about 12 hours later in the evening. So good to see you in the daylight.
Yeah, in the daylight. I know I heard from some people from the state softball tournament that watched that game. It said it looked like we were doing the game around a campfire in a campground with flashlights and telling scary ghost stories.
Well, that was a ghost story, unfortunately, for Albia that night. But that was softball. Now it's time for basketball. Laura, you had a chance to see some of the games here. You'll call a couple of these, 3 of these championship games coming up on Friday and Saturday in Iowa Public Television. One of them will be in Class 3A, and there's a good chance, but at least if you go by chalk, Crestwood would be one of those teams.
Yeah, looking through the statistics and what they have done this year, if you look at Class 3A, they lead in almost every offensive statistical category. It's amazing. Field goal percentage, three-point field goal percentage. Their free throw percentage is phenomenal, which, you know what, when it gets down to it, that wins you ball games.
Well, just ask Indianola, who went 21 of 21 yesterday and won by a bucket.
Yep.
It all matters, and we saw free throws in the game that just wrapped up between Lamar's and Council Bluffs Lewis Central. And the reason I say if you go by chalk, that's what we'll get. But in that game, that was the number 2 seed, number 2 overall in 4A. So the number 2 teams in both 4A and 5A have gone out. Now, South Tama is trying to play the role of spoiler and knock out the first top seed of this tournament. South Tama, a team, if you look at the record, Laura, 15-9, look a little closer. 6 of those losses were to teams that are playing here at the tournament.
Well, they've had a tough schedule, and so they certainly are well-seasoned and well-positioned for maybe a team like Crestwood to overlook and say, okay, we're the number 1 seed. We're playing a team that doesn't have that great of a record compared to what we have. And those are always teams that sneak up and bite the number 1 or number 2 seed.
Well, what South Tama is bringing is the leading scorer in the tournament field for Class 3A, and that's Jessica Musgrave. The junior is averaging just over 22 points a contest. And from what I've been able to gather, she can take over a ball game.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch her play because you look at those numbers at around 22 points a game, and that tells you she can score in a variety of ways and that her teammates are going to get her the basketball. And so when they need some points, you know where they're going to look, and she's going to try to find ways to get herself open and ways to create things for herself and for her teammates.
And the number 2 scorer in Class 3A tournament field suits up for Crestwood, and that's Shannon Pisney, the senior from Crestwood, just under 20 points a contest. Incredible balance, and Pisney leads the way for the Cadets.
Well, she is. I mean, they've got some good balance, but she is their leader. And, the one thing that kind of stood out for me is that she gets to the free throw line a lot, and she's almost an 80% free throw shooter. So you can tell free throws are kind of close to my heart. I think they're key, and I don't think people take them seriously enough. And I think you go back to that Indianola game. You knocked them all down, and it won you ball games. You miss 1 or 2 of those, and it's an overtime game, or you may be going home.
And for Crestwood, they have another player big in the post. It's a sophomore, and it's Sharon Goodman. Goodman getting some looks from Division I coaches, from what I've been told, and she has improved her game because now she adds defense. Always a good hallmark of a player.
Yeah, absolutely. And defense, I think you talk to any college coach, if a kid can play defense, they're going to want him on their team.
So in this contest, South Tama and Crestwood, what do you see as keys for this one?
Well, I think it's going to be matchup matchups. I think they're going to look for mismatches in the paint, both sides, and then I think it's a situation where you have to control tempo.
And that is what we'll find out as we are just seconds away. We'll meet the fans of the game from each squad. We'll have the starting lineups, and we'll have some basketball. Just a skosh behind schedule, but guess what? We're getting close to basketball action.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa for today's 2018 IGHSAU Iowa Farm Bureau Girls State Basketball Class 3A quarterfinal matchup featuring the number 8 seed South Tama Trojans and the number 1 seed Crestwood Cadets. Fans, at this time, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union and the Iowa Farm Bureau would like to recognize the outstanding sportsmanship shown by South Tama High School and Crestwood High School. In recognition of the importance of good sportsmanship, each qualifying school was asked to nominate a spectator who represents their school and community in a sportsmanlike manner. Karen Brown of the IGHSAU will present each nominee with a certificate of recognition and a $250 check payable to their school's scholarship fund. Please join us in honoring these individuals whose decorum and respect for others serves as a model for all spectators attending interscholastic events. From South Tama High School, Tammy Weiss. And from Crestwood High School, Bill Henry. And it's now time to introduce the players in today's quarterfinal matchup. First, the non-starters and assistant coaches for the South Tama Trojans. Number 5, Abigail Morgan. Number 14, Carissa Musgrave. Number 15, Michaela Bakken. Number 20, Shelby Slavin. Number 25, Enriqueta Diego. Number 33, Taylor Ray. Number 40, Zoe Buffalo. Number 44, Aubrey Roberts. Assistant coaches, Ronald Halla and Chelsea Aarons. Now the non-starters for the cadets. Number 2, Taylor Shelton. Number 10, Megan Leinhardt. Number 11, Kennedy Gall. Number 12, Haley Thomas. Number 13, Annie Mast. Number 20, Brooklyn Ferry. Number 30, Samantha Balk. Assistant coaches, Dale Dendler, Oakley Natbig, and Myron Friesen. Now, let's meet the starters for both teams. For the Trojans, a 5'8" senior, number 2, Sadie Smith. For the Cadets, a 5'4" senior, number 4, Emily Friesen. For the Trojans, a 5'11" junior, number 4, Jalen Berger. For the Cadets, a 5'9" senior, number 14, Shannon Disney. For the Trojans, a 5'9" junior, number 11, Jessica Musgrave. For the Cadets, a 5'6" senior, number 22, Bryn Boderman. For the Trojans, a 5'5" freshman, number 12, Tylese Rosenberger. For the Cadets, a 5'6" senior, number 23, Ellie Friesen. For the Trojans, a 5'8" junior, number 23, Madison Rojas. And for the Cadets, a 6'2" sophomore, number 40, Sharon Goodman. Head coach for the Trojans is Dale Todd. Head coach for the Cadets is Doug Sickles. The officials for today's game are Brett Johnson, Kurt Struth, Blake Reinecke, and Craig Murray.
We are just moments away from tip-off between Crestwood and South Tama. This is game one of Class 3A, Laura Leonard, and we talked about some of these keys to the ball game as you see these players come out every single time. When they have their rituals out of the lineups, always makes me chuckle.
You always like to see what the new trend is, because there's the old standbys, but I think I just saw one that I had not seen, the leapfrog coming onto the court, so that's impressive.
Now, and it was different than the duck, duck, gray duck that the Vikings did this year, but it was very similar. Leapfrog, I love it. All right, we're ready to go. Crestwood in white, South Tama in black. We're underway. It's tipped by Goodman to Ellie Friesen, and the cadets are underway. They go down low right away to Goodman, and it's tipped back out, and they'll reset.
And immediately they go inside, try to establish that inside game, and see if they could get the ball to Goodman to start the game off.
Friesen on the left wing, now back up top with Ellie. They're twins, different in appearance and personality. Drive and dish, and score.
Well, a nice job of getting that dribble penetration on the inside. Ellie Friesen draws the defense and then dumps it over the top.
First offensive possession for South Tama. Rohak driving and going to the ground without any foul. Goodman with the rebound. Up ahead quickly. Pisney was there for a moment. Friesen tied up with Jessica Musgrave. And the alternating possession arrow.
I'm not sure what they called there. It was a
what they
loose ball.
I thought it was a jump ball, sorry.
And it didn't change the possession arrow.
Well, now it will, as that one gets thrown out in the front row of the band.
You have to like all the little traditions and all the things that these players do when they come to Wells Fargo. I don't know if we'll be able to see it or not, but underneath the back of the ponytails for the South Tama players, all of them have a little blue dye in the back of their hair.
Sometimes when you have a little extra time, that's one of those things that you're doing. Down low, that's Musgrave. She gets it back out. Trojans moving the basketball well, but Crestwood there at nearly every pass, contesting everything.
Well, the ball goes inside, and you saw 4 white jerseys around Musgrave, and then the big block by Goodman on the inside.
Goodman flashes her left paw for a moment. They go baseline, 15-footer, good! Pisney.
You look up and down this lineup for Crestwood. They are balanced. You had mentioned it. Pisney at about 20 points a game. Goodman just a little under 20 a game, and then Ellie Friesen at 12. So they're tough matchups because you have to really pay attention to 3 players on the floor.
Inside, and it's taken away by Pisney. So not only on the offensive side, she now does it defensively. Friesen drives and is fouled a long way from the basket. Madison Rohak.
Fouls on the Trojans, number 2.
You can see that Crestwood really wants to push tempo. They want to get the ball up the floor. They do it with quick passing and then try to create.
4-0 early on, Crestwood leads. Crestwood from extreme northeast Iowa, Howard County area. Pisney drives, misses. Goodman had it for a moment, and then it goes off of her hands, and it'll go back to South Tama. South Tama, the southern part of Tama County, if that wasn't indication enough in their name, which is just north and east here of Des Moines. About just over an hour to get here. Loose ball, stepped in front is Ellie Friesen. Ellie goes to the corner. Nice drive and score, Bryn Boderman.
Nice job of finding the angle and finding the opening. And again, it's good passing by Crestwood. They do the skip pass over the top of the defense, which gets it out of position, and that creates the openings.
Three-pointer launched and dialed in. Jessica Musgrave. That ends a 6-0 run.
And they're going to look to get the ball in her hands so she can get herself open. But if you give her a little room like that, she's going to pull the trigger.
Turnover.
Lineup for the Trojans, number 12, Tylee Rosenberger.
They're going to say that shot before was only a 2. I thought she checked her feet and got behind. But I'm sure she'll get a 3rd and 4th point at some point.
Well, sometimes, you know, the shooters, they look down, they try to adjust their feet, and maybe they don't get all the way back behind the line.
Musgrave, another Musgrave. This one is Carissa, and her shot is off the mark, and the Cadets with the board. Boderman, nice underneath Pisney for 2 more.
And that's where they really hurt you, and it's time for a timeout for South Tama to talk about some things.
8-2 run for the Cadets here in the first game of 3A.
And here, we don't just dream, we make history by nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision. With this, our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service. This is Iowa.
Coach Todd Dale talking it over with his squad, also getting help from Ronald Holla, who was doing most of the talking in that timeout. What do you think he's talking about?
Well, I think it's a situation where you've got to, first of all, make shots, because if you're not making shots, that's allowing Crestwood to get up and down the floor. And so I think it's just a little precision, patience on the offensive end. Get some high percentage shots.
Rosenberger on the left wing now comes back up top. Pisney on her. Great defense early on here by Crestwood.
Yeah, they're doing a
nice
great
backboard
job.
cut on Musgrave. That shot won't go. Defense creates.
Yeah, it does, but they got what they were looking for. They beat the defense, but that's tough to beat right there. Good job of getting back in transition defense to stop the easy 2, but finally they get the foul.
Goodman is fouled. She missed the first, got the rebound, missed the second, but that's because she was fouled.
Shooting for the Cadets, number 40, Sharon Goodman.
Goodman, a 75.3% free throw shooter. Laura talked about it in the open, about how good they are, and of course that means you missed the first one.
Number 23, Madison Rojas.
It always happens. You talk about it and talk about how good they are, and then they don't knock them down, but they don't shoot at almost 80% for no reason. They're going to knock the rest of them down probably.
There you go. You talk that one down for Goodman, and she's on the board for the first time. 9-2. Seven-point lead. South Tama looking to just get a good look at the basket. That has been a struggle so far on their offense.
And they're moving well on offense, and they're moving well without the ball, so there's nice motion to the offense, but you have to credit the defense for really being there to stop them at every cut and every move.
That shot by Musgrave's off the mark, and then we're going to have a foul on Sadie Smith on the rebound.
Fouls on the Trojans, number 2, Sadie Smith. Her first.
So right now, South Tama having to settle for the mid-range jumpers, the outside jumpers. They are not going to get anything inside.
Pisney now to Friesen. Kind of the give and go. Pisney, nice turnaround shot. Good block by South Tama's Musgrave, who chases down and grabs the handle, pushes the tempo up ahead for the layup, and a foul. Oh! We're going to have, first it was no foul, now we will have a foul. The referee, who was close, saw it clean, but the trailing official saw something different and called a foul.
Well, he had to look from behind, so maybe he saw contact that the baseline official could not see.
Sometimes when it's right on top of you, it's really hard to chase that all down and process. Smith with the free throw. And has another. That one's off the mark. Musgrave had a handle on it for a moment. She's everywhere.
Yeah, she is. She's just flying around the court and moving very well.
Very well movement inside to Goodman for 2.
And that's going to be tough for South Tama to defend because you have that mismatch on the inside and you get the ball to Goodman where she can catch, drop step, and go right to the hoop.
Lead back to 8. Three-pointer from way out, off the mark long. Pisney the rebound. Up ahead. They had Boderman for a moment. One freeze into another, down low. Goodman turnaround and one.
Now they work the ball around. They do a really good job of passing. And Goodman again working well, block to block, getting herself open, getting the defender on her backside.
Goodman will have the and one here. Her 3rd free throw. She's 1 of 3 on the game. Loose ball chased down eventually by South Tama. Up ahead in transition. Nice move and almost fouled, but
Back into the lineup for the Trojans.
Talise Rosenberger goes down. Oh, they're going to call her for the charge.
I think the travel.
Oh, the travel, not the.
Yeah.
I should watch the game.
She tried to make that step through move between the defenders, that little Euro step that everybody calls it, and she just drug that pivot foot.
I'm going to watch the replay here as the web stream is just a little delay. Yeah, now they called the travel. Okay, yep, I see it. Crestwood on the rebound, that's Friesen. That's another Friesen. Goodman on the left block, turnaround. Misses the mark, and it'll be a foul on Crestwood.
Fouls on defense, number 14,
Shannon Pisney. Well, if you're South Tama, you hope Pisney keeps picking up fouls. You'd like her to sit for a little while.
Well, right now they've got to try to find somebody, as far as South Tama goes, they've got to find somebody that can create and get themselves open, try to get that lid off the basket and build a little confidence.
Driving is Smith, and rebound Goodman. And Goodman had position, or was on the outside, but the contact came from underneath.
Number 2, Sadie Smith.
Smith picks up her 2nd foul in the process.
You know, they got the dribble drive, and then she made that reverse pivot. All of a sudden, she runs into Goodman, and then that's a huge mismatch to have to go up against.
13-3, Crestwood by 10. Scoring coming. You hear a lot of down low points and drive points. Pisney turnaround and is fouled. So I don't have a shot chart here, Laura, but if you had one, I'm guessing it's within 10 feet for Crestwood.
Yeah, I would have to say that what they consider points in the paint, probably most of their points, at least 10 of their 13, are from inside the lane area.
Pisney misses the front half of the 2-shot opportunity. And connects on the 2nd. She now has 7. $11-point lead, biggest of the ball game, and a travel on South Tama. So not a great first quarter for the Trojans, but I think Crestwood's had a lot to say in that performance.
It's just been a combination of their defense, their size, and their proficient offense.
Goodman has the big hand up. She sits in the center of the free throw line. Center of the logo.
They're going to spread the floor here. They've got about 10 seconds now to try to work for that last shot.
That's Boderman. Now Pisney. Inside Goodman. Touch shot won't go. Tip for the rebound.
At the end of the first quarter, it's
Shot falls short, but Crestwood opens up a 14-3 lead to open the first quarter. Quarter 2 when we come back.
Building a strong community doesn't happen overnight. It takes a vision for the future, the ability to turn a challenge into a success, and individuals who inspire new generations of growth. Greater Des Moines has done a lot of growing over the years, and so have we. At Brick Gentry Law, your success is something that we create together. Thank you for making us a part of your community. Thank you for 50 years. Building a strong
South Tama's 3 points would be the lowest output of any squad here so far in the tournament. We've played 8 games, and that would be the lowest scoring offensive performance. We talked about Crestwood, just a real tough matchup. Great defense has really stood up.
Well, when you have a stopper in the middle and Goodman that can kind of patrol the lane area, it allows your defense to go out on the perimeter and gamble a little bit. So that's, I think, what is really helping them defensively. And South Tama needs to find a way to break things down and find some openings, but they're moving very well defensively right now.
And Goodman's playing defense on Berger. They're still playing man defense. Musgraves drives, and then Goodman tips it to Bryn Boderman. And now Ellie Friesen will step across half court and put the offense into motion. Moving it left to right. And not really in a hurry to shoot the ball are the Cadets. They are wanting to move the ball. 3-point shot, no good. Goodman was going for the rebound. The shot was off the mark by Boderman.
Fouls on the Trojans, number 11, Jessica Musgrave.
So Musgrave picks up her second foul, and if she would go to the bench,
shooting 1-1 for the Cadets.
That would be a tough situation for the Trojans.
Well, not only in the scoring department, but she also averages a little over 3 assists a game, and on the defensive side, almost 6 steals a game. So you take a vital part of your offense out as well as your defense if she has to go to the bench. So she's going to have to play very smart here through the second quarter.
Goodman's first free throw and second attempt are both good. The lead now 13, 16-3. Musgrave. Over to Musgrave. That's Jessica, turnaround, 15-footer off the mark. Goodman fights, but Ellie Friesen wins. Pisney in transition, fakes left drive, scores!
Well, that's exactly what Pisney can do for you, is give that ball fake, put it on the floor, slash between the defenders.
Long shot won't go. Musgrave, Jessica fights, and then she is fouled as she tries to put it up. I've got to give Jessica a lot of credit here. She is absolutely attacking as best as she can, trying to pull her team to do the same thing.
Well, and she's leading by example, and that's what pulls the rest of the team along. And so they've got to get a little success of getting the ball to go through the hoop, and then I think that starts to build confidence.
That ends a 9-0 run, but only 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Pass inside, Goodman, just no answer. She gets another one with a chance for one more. Goodman now with 9. She can go into double figures on the free throw. And it's just really tough for Berger to compete.
Well, at 5'11", going up against 6'2", doing the best she could, trying to stay straight up and down.
Also in for the the Trojans, number 40, Zoe Buffalo.
So Berger will sit down as she now has picked up a foul. Free throw from Goodman. This one is good. The lead is 17. 10 now for Sharon Goodman. Trojans still facing 3-point off the mark, still facing man-to-man defense. And then a travel. Called on Madison Roja. The 5th turnover for South Tama in this contest.
And you'd expect this kind of start from Crestwood. They have a team that they've started. 4 of the 5 starters are seniors, with Goodman being the sophomore in there, and then 1 other senior on the team. So a very veteran team that has played together for a long time.
Head coach Doug Sickles in his 15th year at Crestwood, 219 and 117. This is Crestwood's 4th trip to state, and all have come under Coach Sickles. So you get a look at them there. The assistants all in blue. Both free throws from Ellie Friesen are good. Friesen and her sister played at Osage their first 2 years. As South Tama gets hardly one look at the basket, and Crestwood gets it back.
And they're rushing some shots because now they know they're in a hole and they feel like they need to try to make up that deficit in a hurry. And they're going to have a hard time doing it when they can get the ball inside to Goodman like that. But South Tama needs to stay the course and find some good shots. And they just, as I say, it's just one that needs to go down.
And another turnover committed by the Trojans. Now, we have a timeout on the floor. 25-4. Cadets in control here at Wells Fargo Arena.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
All you have to do, you just have to get their feet here on the pavement and bing. Being in Des Moines, you just get it through the experience.
I'm a fan of a lot of our fast, casual cuisine.
A little theater, some great restaurants.
There's a lot going on musically.
If you can't find things to do in Des Moines,
you must be boring.
This is a magical place.
Crestwood has yet to make a substitution, and their starters have put up 25 points on South Tama, who only has 4. Paul Yeager and Laura Leonard here in this Class 3A quarterfinal, game 1 of the 3A class. 3-pointer on the way, no good. Shot by Friesen won't go, and now Ellie's going to try to get the steal. Trap right here in front, and a collision. So we get a close-up look, and I don't think Rosenberger knew it just hit her.
I know. Well, you know what?
Kind of had that look.
And they came out of that timeout and they showed trap. And they haven't shown that all game long, and now they're showing a little something different, a little zone look. And so see how South Tama handles that.
Driving in is Musgrave with the left. Hander won't go, gets a rebound, holds the pivot. Goodman the block, and then loose ball corralled. Emily Friesen pushing the tempo underneath Pisney, and one!
Boy, that's how you do it. You get the defense at one end, you get the block, and then everybody gets out and fills the lane, and they get the run out and the tough layup at the end, and the foul. What a great job of running the floor by Pisney.
And don't forget the vision to see that basket.
Back into the lineup for the Trojans, number 2.
The thing is, though, Laura, sometimes as teams elevate that you're playing the competition, that might have worked when you're playing a team that was 4 and 15. Here, sometimes those passes just aren't there.
Yeah, you're right. And you just have to really make sure of them, and you have to have the right angles, maybe a little ball fake and maybe some pass fakes to get the defense to move a little bit. And that's something I know when you're inside and you're trying to go up against Goodman, a ball fake might get her up off of her feet to try to draw a foul. But boy, they're starting to hit on all cylinders now.
Emily Friesen for 3. And contact down here on the left side of the screen.
Fouls on the cadets, number 22, Bryn Boderman.
Boderman whistled for the foul.
Shooting for the Trojans, number 11, Jessica Musgrave.
So Musgrave goes back to the free throw line. She's going to have to somehow find a way. And right now, if it's just free throws, she'll take that opportunity. That ends another incredible run of 13-0. A 13-0 run. Musgrave gets them both.
Into the lineup for the cadets, number 10, Leighton Reinhardt.
But yeah, you'll take that right now. And maybe that's a sign where Musgrave said, boy, I put my head down. I took it right to the hoop. Was able to draw the contact. We got some points out of it. So maybe everybody takes a little lesson from that and they start to attack.
Well, something yesterday we saw, Laura, in those 5A games, you've got some outstanding individual players. Three-pointer not there. Tipped out of bounds, and it'll stay Crestwood basketball. Sometimes those individual players will try to do everything for their team, and it doesn't quite work. In this case, I think you need your great player to try to take over a game.
Well, if you look up and down the lineup, and she's the one that scores 22 points a game, nobody else is in double figures, so she has to be that leader out there.
Goodman for 2 more.
Goodman.
33-6. Just a good chance to see Crestwood in action the way they're playing. There's a good chance we'll see them playing on Saturday. Musgrave, nice shot.
Basket's good for the Trojans.
Jessica, 7 points now for Jessica.
Lost her defender and called for the basketball, and a nice little step back move.
Three-pointer on the way. Nothing but net.
Basket for the cadets.
Ellie Friesen.
Ellie Friesen.
And now you're going to have a blocking foul on.
Foul is on the cadets, number 23, Ellie Friesen.
So Ellie Friesen goes and makes the 3, and then she commits the foul on the other end real quick.
After she scored, hustled back to get in position to get that half-court defense set up, and they're trying to trap as soon as the ball comes over the half-court line, and she just got a little greedy that time.
Rosenberger. Now Musgrave drives around. The runner won't go. Rebound, Leinhardt. Pisney, 15-foot baseline shot, no good. Rebound comes out to Crestwood. Berger. Go down low, Goodman. Three-pointer, no good. Tipped out of bounds, good hustle. South Tama's Sadie Smith comes out with it. Musgrave driving behind the back. Kicks. Nice move to the hole, and then a foul will be called. Everybody's always shocked when they're whistled for a foul, aren't they?
Because everybody thinks they get them clean. You know, if you ask anybody that's blocked a shot, they always will tell you it's all ball. So, you know, everybody has that look like, oh, no, I got all ball on that. I didn't touch her.
Were you known as a shot blocker?
No, but I can remember one that I had, and it was the whole bench went crazy because I didn't have a very big vertical. So
was that at Roosevelt or at Drake?
That was at Drake, and I didn't have a big vertical, and it might have been my only career blocked shot.
We'll have to go chase that down. Probably the only one who would have seen it was the late Paul Morrison. We'll have to ask, we can't ask him to say, is that true? Did Laura actually block one? Goodman just goes behind the defense, misses the bunny, gets the rebound, and puts that one in.
Yeah, did a nice job of keeping the ball up above her head after she missed that first shot and didn't bring it down around her waist. I like the fact that she kept it right up there and went right back at the glass.
And now South Tama tries to go on the backside, and I think they kind of caught Crestwood asleep a little bit there.
Thomas. Into the Trojans, number 33, Taylor Ray.
They're trying to get some subs in there and a combination that maybe can go on a little bit of a run here the last minute and a half.
Three-point shot. Good!
Three-point basket for the Trojans.
Carissa Musgrave.
Carissa Musgrave.
That was a pretty-looking shot.
And that's what they're looking for, and that may settle them in a little bit right in before halftime.
Three-pointer on the way to answer. Off the mark. Goodman out of position on that rebound. Lets it go, but foul called on Crestwood.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Emily Friesen, trying to sneak in from behind to get a quick steal.
Fouls on the cadets at number 4, Emily Friesen, her second, teammate. Shooting for the Trojans, number 4.
So Crestwood is shooting a blistering 53% from the field right now, 9 of 17. That's how you get to 38 points and a half. Free throw not there. A little contact. I think that was more of just momentum.
Yeah. You always worry, though, when kids come sliding down and go crash into the floor really hard, but I think it was a soft landing.
Cadets in the final 40 here of the second quarter. Friesen drives, kicks. Now back out to Emily Friesen. Almost a steal by Musgrave. She's still fighting for it. And then she picks up her third foul with 30 seconds to go before half.
You know, just trying to make something happen, thinking that if she could have gotten that steal, that would have been a big bucket before the buzzer. Now she's picked up number 3, 30 seconds left. They're not going to take her out of this ball game. But, boy, she's got to be smart this last 30 seconds.
Lakin Leinhard hits the free throw. Point number 39 and 40 for the Cadets. Musgrave directing it out. Gives to her sister.
And they're face guarding her right now. Looks like Friesen has the duties of that to face guard Musgrave, not allow her the ball once she gives it up.
Not quite the shot I don't think South Tama wanted right there. So now South Tama's going to have to play defense for the final 5. Ellie Friesen, 2 seconds, NBA 3, short. She'll call it a pass. But Crestwood rolling in this one, 40-12 here at half. A 27-9.
2018 IGHSAU
I'm sorry, a 26-9 run
We'd like to remind you
in that second quarter. Just an impressive performance by Crestwood, Laura, as the Cadets from Cresco are 23-0. Sharon Goodman with 16, Shannon Pisney with 12. And it was really just an impressive 14 of 28. 14 of 28 from the field. Just a flat-out great performance.
Well, and they average close to 70 points a game, which is good for number 2 and 3A, and number 7 all classes. So they're right on pace for that. And you look at the way the quarters broke down, 14 in the first, and as you had mentioned, 26 in the second. That's 2 really good quarters back-to-back and doing it defensively as well.
And South Tama just has to find something in the break. Jessica Musgrave with 7 of your 12 points, so she's more than half your effort. She picks up the third foul right before the break. Not exactly sure what that's going to matter. It's quite the mountain to climb, but you got to have her in the game.
you definitely have to have her in the game because the offense runs through her. I mean, they get it started and it ends with her as well. And Crestwood's done a really nice job of face guarding and trying to keep the ball away from her.
All right, we're going to talk 4A basketball. The Lamar's Bulldogs, the story of the day so far. Coach Copperroot is coming up next here. We're at halftime, 40-12 on CISN.TV.
Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. New 18 Silverado Double Cab 4x4 All-Star Edition. Power price, $99 per month lease. $99 per month. New 18 Silverado Crew Cab 4x4 All-Star Edition. $219 per month lease. 18 Equinox. $199 per month lease. New 18 Cruise LTs. $18,790. Hurry in for best selection. The Power Price Event. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
It has become something of a lost art. Remembering someone's face. Remembering a name. They're the building blocks of a strong, caring community. Can you think of anything else more important than that? We can't.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Number 2 seeds have gone out in the tournament. One of them, Cedar Falls, the other, Council Bluffs Lewis Central. And one of the coaches who helped knock out one of those top seeds is Judd Copperroot, head coach at Lamar's of the Bulldogs. Coach, you're in the semifinals.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and like I said, we're excited to be here, and it's a great day today, and we're looking forward to a great challenge on Thursday.
Well, you got a tough Grinnell team that you're going to have to face. I assume you came down yesterday at some point?
Yep. We had a nice send-off at school right away in the morning, and then we hit the road after that, hit a practice at a local high school after that, and had supper and then came here for the evening and watched some great games last night, and then came back again this morning.
Where'd you practice yesterday?
At Waukee.
Oh, everybody loves to go to Waukee when they come to town.
I wonder why.
It's quite the facility.
It's an amazing facility,
and that's a good opportunity to get the girls. Not to say that Lamar's doesn't have the same facilities. It's a great town, great everything up there. But that kind of gets you ready for, much bigger seats. Backdrops are different, and you kind of get a sense of this is something different.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And, when our girls walked into the field house there at Waukee, they were kind of looking around like, wow, this is amazing. We were joking, saying, boy, it kind of reminds you of Lamar's, doesn't it? And they looked at us like, I don't think so. But, it's awesome there. The facilities, the people were great, so we have to compliment, how generous the people at Waukee have been.
Well, better to have them looking around the lights there than they are here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep,
so,
you're right.
So you get into the tournament with a regional final win over Denison Schleswig. That one wasn't close. In fact, you've had some losses. You lost to Cherokee, who's been at the state tournament a lot, and laid Bishop Heelan also as well. Another loss to Cherokee Spirit Lake, Western Christian, which is a last-second shot from being here, defending champs, Sioux City West. How does a coach work his players through losses like that against good teams to say, hey, that's part of the process?
Well, from the beginning of the season, we told our kids that, our schedule gets us ready for the postseason. We play in Northwest Iowa, and we just feel like Northwest Iowa from top to bottom is really tough every single season. And during the course of a year, you might take some losses, but you can still play well and you can still improve. And our girls have really embraced that. I mean, in some of those losses, yeah, I mean, you know, we took one, but the girls still competed hard. They played well. That other team might have been better that night, and sometimes that happens. But to be honest with you, you know, we look at, like, if you compare, like, the boys last year, Sergeant Bluff,
Yeah.
you know, the run the Sergeant Bluff boys made. I mean, how many losses do they take during the regular season?
Yeah.
Because look at who they play. They play in a tough area. And so Northwest Iowa, and it's not just Sergeant Bluff. I mean, that's you know, quite often in girls and boys basketball. So I think our girls have done a nice job of kind of embracing that and knowing that, hey, you know what, we might take one, but you know, we're playing tough teams, tough competition, and it's getting us battle tested for the postseason.
You're in your 8th year at Lamar's. Tell us a little bit. Tell the folks at home a little bit about you. Where are you from?
From Moorhead, Minnesota originally. I went to Luther College over in
I'm
Decorah,
sorry
Iowa.
about that. Hold on here. I got to pull out and get a drink from my Wartburg cup. Sorry. Luther's a good school. So you went to Luther to study what?
I graduated with a major in English so I could teach. I met my wife there, and we got married right after college. We both got teaching jobs over in the north central Iowa area. So we were both in Forest City for a few years after that. And then from Forest City, my wife is originally from Lamar's, and jobs opened up in northwest Iowa. We love Lamar's. We love the community and the people there, and great school system. It's a wonderful place to raise our kids. And so we moved to Lamar's, and I was an assistant coach there for a few years under Barry Borchers, and then head job opened up when he got out of that, and was fortunate enough to become the head coach. And so, yeah, we love Lamar's, and now I'm a guidance counselor at the high school there. So I'm a counselor and a coach, and my wife is a middle school guidance counselor there as well, and then we have 3 young children.
And that's never easy. You got to have support at home. And the kids, did the kids get a chance to come down to see Dad work today?
They were here last night, and they swam in the pool and played at the hotel, and they had some friends here too from town, and they had a blast. And so as a parent, you know, it's pretty wonderful to see your kids having memories made like that at the state tournament, and you know, giving them a hug afterwards was a blast, and they're really into it. They're having the time of their lives right now.
Do they have to go home?
They do. They have school tomorrow. You know, we got to make sure we get them back for school. So they'll be in school tomorrow.
Well, you're into the game, but I could hear your student section, which was sitting over here, and they were saying no school Thursday.
Yeah, they were pretty excited about that. You know, and I know our girls were pretty fired up too. You know, so anytime you can come through for the student body like that, it's always a good deal.
Well, they always appreciate it. They see a good performance today. You had 3 players in double figures. Jalen Dreckman with 16, Madison Dreckman with 13, and Jen Schneider with 10. Now, the Dreckmans are not sisters. We had mentioned that in the other one. Yep. Tell me about some of your players and who stands out and who should we watch here on Thursday?
Obviously, you know, you mentioned the Dreckmans, and they're cousins, and although they're tight like sisters, though. I mean, they're very close and do a lot of things together. And obviously, you know, Madison, you know, when you look at the stats, Madison jumps out at you right away. She's had a great season. And lately, Jaylyn has really come on for us and you know, playing extremely well, and she's been aggressive, and that's been awesome to see. You know, and obviously we've got, you know, some strong guard play with Sydney Baumgartner, Dakota Owens, Annie Ellis. Jen Schneider, I thought, you know, had a nice game today. Played really well on both ends of the court as well. And then off the bench, you know, Brooke Heggie, and obviously we mentioned Jaylyn, Grace Milbrode, and the rest of the girls too really got into it today and kind of gave our starters and kids around the floor a lot of energy, so it was fun.
You jumped out pretty early in that game, and kind of, I think Lewis Central was just always feeling they were on the downside, shot less than 25%. Anytime you can keep a team below that, you got to feel good about your defensive effort.
Yeah, I think what we try and stress is being just real solid defensively, and I think the girls really bought into that here in the postseason. And I think I was really impressed with our demeanor, our mindset right away. Like, hey, you know what? We're coming out here to guard you, and that was great to see. So anything, you know, that we do, hopefully will start on the defensive end. So real proud of their defensive effort today.
Well, you're off to play Thursday against Grinnell. Sienna Durr is just an outstanding player. You're going to have to find an answer for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just her. I mean, their whole team is very solid, you know, and we watched them last night here against Mason City and very impressed. Very athletic. You know, they've got some kids who can shoot the ball. They got some size as well, and you know, we're going to have our hands full with Grinnell for sure.
Well, we'll see it here Thursday on the web, and maybe our Lamar's numbers will jump up again. But I'm sure you just as soon have them here cheering you on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, that's head coach Judd Copperroot from the great College of Luther in Decorah, an alum, and now he's coaching for Lamar's, and he's in the semifinals. We're back with half number 2 of Crestwood and South Tama after this.
Spring has arrived at the all-new Fireplace Superstore. Drop in and check out all the new 2017 patio furniture. At Fireplace Superstore, you will find Central Iowa's most complete outdoor furniture selection for your deck and patio, including gas and charcoal grills, fire pits, and wicker furniture. Get in on the early spring savings going on now. Fireplace Superstore has been creating your outdoor style for over 35 years. Fireplace Superstore just west of Homeacres on Douglas in Urbandale.
We're back for half number 2 here at Wells Fargo Arena. There's our microphone to let you know that we're courtside. Man, it blares sometimes. I even have the microphone pointed down, Laura, and it still gets the horn nice and bright. Real quick as we go in, we're not going to have as much strategy to talk about, but if you are South Tama, what'd you try to talk about there at half?
Well, I think that number one, just settle down. There's an opportunity. There's 2 quarters left, and win the 2 quarters and fight your way back into this thing. Get good high percentage shots. Some other people are going to have to step up and try to make some plays, and then once they do that, then they can maybe get Musgrave going.
Well, Crestwood right now working the shots around about 5 passes, and then picking up right where they left off is the Cadets and Bryn Boderman for 3.
Well, and there's a good shot by Berger, so somebody else taking the initiative, looking to make the shots, make the score, to try to make them defend.
Her third, team first. Shooting 2 for the Trojans, number 11, Jessica Musgrave.
So now Musgrave goes back to the line.
Kelly Friesen just picked up her 3rd foul.
So that'll be now, Crestwood has a lot of their players that do get a chance to play in some of these games, but we've only seen them go too deep on the bench in this game so far. So that's one of those things. How confident do you feel about players 6 and 7, 8 and 9? A lot of teams go maybe only 8, some 9, but if you get into foul trouble and you've only got 5 or 6, that kind of gets you a little bit of a cause for, I hope it goes our way.
Yeah, you have to really be careful when you do start getting players into foul trouble about how you play, how you adjust your defense.
Timeout on the court, and that was taken by Crestwood. The Cadets from Northeast Iowa. A lot of people have gone through Jackie Sapp, who does some analysis with us here on CISN, used to coach there. She would want me to say just a couple of years ago.
I'm sure it was just like 2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3, I think, is all it was. So, and the play-by-play for one of the radio stations on here, Joe, is a graduate of the program and an old friend of one of my old teachers from Jessup. So Northeast Iowa, we stick together, Laura. We can't just let you Des Moines folks have it all. Goodman turn around for 2.
Well, that is just so tough to defend, and when you don't have anybody that can match up height-wise, you just continue to exploit that and get the ball inside to Goodman.
45 for Crestwood, 13 for South Tama, and we're a bucket away from having a continuous clock or 2 here. 31 points. If we get to 35, we will roll rather quickly through the second half. 3-pointer on the way, off the mark, rebound for Crestwood. Good block there. Emily Friesen's shot was sent back. I think it was Allie Friesen who did the block on that play.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Hands up and nice, clean block.
I think they're going to get foul on South Tama there.
Fouls on the Trojans, number 23,
Madison Roja, her 4th foul. at the 6:10 mark in the third quarter. And she's just felt it's been a rough day. 4.5 points a game go to the bench now for South Tama.
And in her place, Carissa Musgrave steps in and knocked down a big three-pointer in the first half for them.
Pisney drives and kicks, and then it goes off the hands. Oh, it was tipped by South Tama. As Emily Friesen goes into the media row to our left here, touches the table.
And turned and said, "I'm sorry" to everybody in press row. Very polite, very kind.
Kind of like the center point Urbana player who knocked over the two water coolers yesterday. Did you see that, Laura? On
I
the far
didn't see that one.
Oh, she knocked him good. Nice drive to the hole and a pull-up by Bryn Boderman.
Very nice looking jump shot, very smooth, very fluid.
Musgrave goes left, now right. Shot off the mark, gets a rebound, won't go. Third attempt, won't go. Fourth attempt, now a foul. Hey, she's not going away and packing it in.
And that's impressive because she stayed right after it, tried every angle that she could to get the ball off the glass, and finally was able to get the foul called.
South Tama knocked off West Marshall to get to state, 38-36. They're not a high-scoring team, as the free throw is good for Musgrave.
50 points a game that South Tama averages.
And they have the only one in 3A where their scoring margin, they give up more than they score. So they've had, but that's just fun with numbers. You win when it matters.
And that's just it. You can look at numbers all day and then figure out who you think's going to win, but you've got to wait for them to get on the floor, and you just don't know which team's going to show up all the time.
Laura, you've seen enough state tournaments and enough teams to know as the three-pointer is on the way. Off the mark, Goodman has it, chases it down, and they'll go back again with Boderman. Drive, Pisney only will shoot two. How do you identify a team that you think that if you see in the early rounds, or even just looking in stats, how do you see a team and say, I think they'll be in the state title?
For me, it's watching the game, and it's more of what everybody says, the eye test. Do they pass the eye test? I think you can see in teams at the state tournament, I think you throw out stats, and you just see, is there a team that's confident out there? And the way they're running up and down the floor and they're working together, there's just that air about them, and you just look and you go, okay, that's a team that's going to make it to the championship and possibly going to win. And it just, I go back to several years ago, Ankeny Centennial. That team got hot, they played with confidence, and I don't think a lot of people thought that they were going to get to the championship game and win it, and they did. They just played together, and they were having a good time, and they played relaxed.
Loose ball tied up. And the possession will say South Tama. We actually talked about that Centennial team yesterday. We started talking about Kendall Lindemann as the Dighton player for Boone had, I think, 7 or 8 home runs, as maybe he was in 11 as an 8th grader for Boone. Good softball player, and then we kind of transitioned into Kendall Lindemann because she had such a good 8th grade year as a softball player, and now Kendall playing and dominating softball for Minnesota in the Big Ten.
Yeah, having a great start to her career, and I think actually I took a peek at what they're doing so far in the early softball season, and they're struggling a little bit, not winning as much as you would think they would, but they lost a really good pitcher from a year ago.
Pitching
and defense in softball.
Nice drive and score for Shannon Pisney.
I like the way that Pisney took it on the baseline and then turned the shoulders, protected that ball as she went up.
And now we are going to have
in the lineup for the cadets at number 10, Lagan Leinart. The last foul was on number 4, Emily Friesen, for 4. T-third.
I thought we were at 35 points.
We are. Continuous clock's going.
Continuous clock is now going. So Crestwood in control here. And if you're saying, how do they do in the eye test? Crestwood is passing it right now.
Yeah, they are. They're getting some balanced scoring, and that's where the eye test and then the numbers add up and match up, because you look at the numbers for Crestwood. They've got 3 players in double figures. They've got the balanced scoring, so naturally, and they're the number 1 seed and haven't lost a game. So you go, okay, numbers-wise, yeah, they're the team. Nice block and good hustle on the floor by Zoe Buffalo to get back and swat that one away. But you put the numbers and you put their performance here today on the floor together, and you go, okay, yeah, they've got the inside track to get to that championship game.
Well, Crestwood, if they can hold on, would face the winner of North Polk and Davenport Assumption, one of those middle seed games. North Polk 21-3 and Assumption 16-8. And don't let records fool you about Assumption, because you know that Assumption would have had to have played Pleasant Valley, as Goodman gets a couple more points and on the bucket. Pleasant Valley, who was undefeated going into the regional final and then lost. And playing up a class, a lot of 4 and 5A teams for the smaller Assumption.
Weren't they in that title game that we did at 2 a.m. in the morning?
I wasn't going to say it, but yes.
Softball? Wonder if any of those kids have recovered that played on the softball team that are on the basketball team have recovered from that.
Now, I know you drove back that night. You were much more of a hero than I was. I was planning to do it from the softball diamond to the hotel, and I was like, oh, I can't. But when I got up in the morning and left at 7:30, there was one girl who had been on the team the night before. She clearly didn't want to get out of bed, and she had the pillow and blanket wrapped around her, and I think they just carted her into the car. Nice 3 for Crestwood. Kaylee Thomas gets into the action. 56-18 now. Crestwood still feeling it. 3-pointer on the way, off the mark. Nice rebound and put back. No good. Goodman the rebound.
Like the way that Musgrave followed her shot, put it up, and then got herself in position. You know, usually the shooter is the one that knows where the ball is going to come off the rim, so they can get to that spot, beat everybody else there, and she did that.
Crestwood ran the table this year, perfect 23-0. Pisney, nice move to the left, and is fouled. So the Cadets have 2 1,000-point scores. They've got Shannon Pisney and Ellie Friesen. And the way Sharon Goodman plays, if she puts up 20 points a night, that's a way to get to 1,000 by the time you're a senior.
Oh, she'll easily do that. They're getting as many points as she does.
So Ellie Friesen, she'll head to South Dakota State to compete in cross country. And I do know that I mentioned it in the pregame show that Goodman's been getting some attention. Some Division I teams have been making their way to Cresco in scenic Howard County.
I think some of those college coaches are here today to take a look.
And there's one thing I talked to Coach Sickles before the game, and he said the big difference for her, and that ends the third quarter, 57-18. We'll talk about the difference in Sharon Goodman right after this.
And here, we don't just dream, we make history by nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision. With this, our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service. This is
I opened the Hearing Clinic to offer patients and their families a positive healthcare experience. If you have trouble hearing clearly at church, at the movies, watching TV, or with your friends and family in a group conversation, what are you waiting for? In less than half an hour, we can give you peace of mind and answer any questions that you may have. Call us today to schedule your appointment. The Hearing Clinic, 515-440-3323. We listen, you hear.
Crestwood is 8 minutes from being in the Class 3A semifinal. We are in control of South Tama right now, 57-18. Paul Yeager alongside Laura Leonard. Good to have you here for this game. And Laura, you'll have the state championship Class 3A. That's the only game that stays the same, and the only schedule that stays the same is Class 3A. That'll be the only thing different for that is an hour earlier. That game will tip at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon with pregame. We'll have the pregame, you, myself, and Molly Parrott at 2:30 on Iowa Public Television.
Is there a special attire that we need to wear for the pregame? I'm just wondering.
Well, some may be in brighter colors than others. And I don't refer to, and I'm not talking you and Molly.
Well,
Saturday, there might be something that will jump out on the screen.
All right, I'll plan for Saturday for the bright colors. We might clash a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see.
Maybe we'll put Molly between the two of us.
I think it might be good.
Yeah, an early Easter egg. Musgrave drives, and that shot's no good. Gets the rebound, 3-ball, no! The Cadets are still fighting in there for rebounds. Pisney's still in the game as we move on. Driving is freezing, that's Emily. And now that's Pisney, thought about it, and then nearly stolen away and is. Musgrave's gonna go and be fouled by Bryn Boderman.
You know, Pisney just defensively not giving up, Musgrave not giving up and taking it all the way to the rim, drawing the contact. And this is where she's done most of her scoring is at the free throw line. And I think, the rest of this quarter, maybe just continue to drive, put your head down. You don't have Goodman in the lineup now, so you have a little bit more room to maneuver in the paint area.
I would be surprised if we see Goodman anymore in this contest. And I'm sure we'll see some of the other ones rotate in.
You were saying before the break that you had talked to Coach Sickles before the ball game.
You know, a freshman, sophomore, there's always a progression in the game. And the one thing that you go from 8th grade to varsity in 1 year, the defense. He says the big difference for her has been her defense. She's gone out and we saw her playing, we saw Goodman playing a long way from the basket instead of underneath, and that's always a sign. And we'll continue this broadcast right after this. This is CISN.TV.
Get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community. You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed.
6:44 remains in the fourth quarter. Crestwood, the Cadets from Howard and Winneshiek County, lead South Tama 57-18. South Tama with the basketball, the all black with the light blue. Nice runner.
That's good for the Trojans. Number 4, Jalen Berger.
Jalen Berger, the junior. So the thing about this South Tama team, Laura, is they are all young. They're all juniors. There's a freshman. Sadie Smith, the only senior on this squad. Talking with one of the radio broadcasters who covers South Tama before the game, I said, are they a year early? And he said, yes. They're ahead of schedule of where they kind of thought with Musgrave, knowing that she is as good of a player and getting the rest of this team to come along. And this is a good experience, even though you're down quite a bit. It's still understanding what it takes to keep playing at this level.
Well, and I think you look up and down the lineup and she's going to have her sister Carissa Musgrave in the lineup with her next year, and so that's going to add some point production, and then everybody else is going to need to make that commitment to step up and work on their game, and they need to get a couple of players that can get into double figures so the scoring duties don't fall heavily on Jessica Musgrave.
So South Tama plays in the WAMAC, and they're in the Western Division, but some of the teams they had to play, Center Point Urbana, Marion, Grundy Center, those are all teams that are here at the tournament. Grinnell, they're in the semifinals. Marion's in the semifinals, and so are the Storm and Pointers. So if you want good competition, the WAMAC's going to give it to you.
Well, I think it's just a good testing ground for them as well, too. It just gives you some really tough competition.
Number 23, Ellie Friesen.
Ellie Friesen with the basket. That's Ellie and her sister, Emily. Musgrave kicks. As we approach the 5-minute mark, Musgrave drives. The scoop, no good. Loose ball comes the Cadets' way.
Well, you can see the moves that Musgrave has. I mean, she's just real crafty around the basket. She can split defenders. She's got that little scoop shot. But she's also shown us that she's got that mid-range jumper and can step out even further. So she's the complete package and has another year to work on her game as well.
I mean, this team, South Tama's already made school history being the first team to make it to state. First-year head coach Todd Dale. And that's always something, you know, as Ellie Friesen knocks in a bucket. When you can bring a community and rally around something positive like a good basketball team, it just makes your Friday nights and Tuesday nights a lot more fun.
Oh, absolutely. It's something to look forward to and plan your week around and go, okay, where are we going to be on Friday? Where are we going to be on Tuesday? Do we have to road trip? Are we going to get a caravan going? Those kinds of things.
And that's also good for the younger players who might be 6th graders, 7th graders that are here. Nice play by Musgrave for 2.
See, those are the moves that has gotten her to that 22-point average. Quick feet, nice drop step.
Three-pointer on the way, no good by Friesen. Rebound is put back up, no good. Third attempt won't happen as South Tama's Morgan, Abrielle Morgan with the rebound up ahead, and 2 more for Musgrave.
Able to get out on the run, and when she gets the ball in her hand, she's got good handles. She can get around the defense.
Musgrave now with 14. Underneath Pisney will go to the line.
A nice little setup, nice little 2-player game as Friesen drove into the middle of the lane, into the middle of the defense, and then got a nice little touch pass over the top to Pisney.
And the bucket is good. Pisney now with 18. So the Cadets shooting 52% from the field, 78% from the free throw line. They're close to having well, they won't all get in double figures because there's going to be some bench time now for the final 3-11.
Number 11, sorry, Kennedy Goff. And number 13, Annie Mast.
So Crestwood had a win over Key, which will play in Class 1A tomorrow. That's their only game against a state tournament team. Is a 56-34 win over Key in the 4th game of the year, so that comes before Christmas. And both teams will tell you we've learned a lot since before Christmas.
It's almost like all the games before Christmas are the non-conference that you hear and read about and watch in college basketball. And then once everybody gets back from Christmas break, then it really gets down to crunch time, and you're playing teams within your conference and playing them twice and then traveling maybe a little bit.
But one of the issues is if you treat it without trying to win some games in those pre-Christmas games, Laura, when you come back in January, the seedings are determined and your districts for who you're going to have to play in those regionals. And, you know, they set that the second and third week of January, so you can't necessarily take off early or late November, early December.
Right, and because it does come down to that, and you want to make sure that you have that good record so you set yourself up for postseason play and you get a good draw in the regionals and make sure that you can make that late run.
But those coaches who might say we peak later, they will tell you, well, you know what? We've worked through the adversity. We've worked through whatever bugs. And you know what? We're going to have to knock off the top team, whether it's in the regional final or in the championship game. You got to win. You got to beat them at some point.
Right. I mean, it's going to come down, and those regional finals in every class are always highly contested.
Let's try to get some of the team or the players for Crestwood. Taylor Shelton for Crestwood is in there. At the line now is Kennedy Gall. Also in is Bryn. Or is that Kaylee Thomas? That's 12, Kaylee Thomas. Samantha Balk. And trying to go up and going to get a chance after the rebound and the putback, Annie Mast. So Mast will go to the line to try to get into the scorebook.
When you look at the balance of these two teams, and you had mentioned it, only one senior for South Tama, and then you have freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. A lot of players coming back. They only lose Sadie Smith. Then you look at Crestwood, they're senior heavy. 4 of their 5 starters are seniors, and they're going to have to rebuild around Sharon Goodman.
Yes, they are. But if anything we've seen with Crestwood, you don't come almost 4 years in a row without having some type of a good program. Good drive, and we'll get a chance to shoot free throws for Enriqueta Diego. Also in the lineup is Abrielle Morgan, Talise Rosenberger, Diego. Oh, that's 15, not 25, Michaela.
It's hard to see. Some of those numbers are hard to see.
Diego is in the game, but shooting the free throw is Michaela Backen. Coach Sickles, I can remember a couple of years ago, he had one of his daughters that he was coaching here. And you kind of thought, well, maybe that'll be the time to retire. But no, he is still going at it. And what he wants to be is a state champion coach. And he's got a great squad here as the cadets lead 64-28.
And you build those programs from the ground up, the lower grades up. And so if you can have a good system in place starting down at the 5th, 6th, 7th grade level and just kind of keep churning them out and bringing in good players that learn the system, then you are going to consistently get back to Wells Fargo.
Stolen away for South Tama. And the fans are wanting everybody to shoot it. Slavin not sure she wants to, but she'll get another chance. Tipped away for Crestwood, and Kennedy Gall grabbed a hold of it. Now Lionhard will walk it up. Lionhard, a sophomore. With it. That's Gall. She's a junior. She's hoping she gets more of an opportunity next season. But they still are on a run right now. The runner won't go. Rebound, South Tama. As we're under 90 seconds now, rebound for Shelby Slavin, a freshman.
You know, both teams doing a really good job of running the offense, running through the sets, and making sure that they've got the motion offense going. Boy, the fans really want Slavin to shoot it.
She's a freshman that, according to the stats sheet provided by the Union, hasn't had any games or any statistics this season on the varsity level. And neither has Aubrey Roberts, but to say, as a freshman, the only game I played in was the one at state.
That's pretty good to be able to say that. You always like to have that in your back pocket to drop into a conversation.
Hey, remember that one time I played in the state tournament? How'd you drop that in? That's not real subtle.
Yeah, but you know what? Not a lot of people get to say that.
That's right.
Good for the cadets, number 30,
Samantha Ball. Now, I forget, how many games did you play at state?
There would be none.
See? But you played at the next level. Not everybody gets that opportunity to do that. So there are some players that you see in the interview room, a lot of tears, emotion. They know that their career is done, and some are fine with that. Some want to end to hosting a trophy. But here's the thing. Only one gets to do it.
Right.
Final 5 seconds of this contest. Crestwood, their fans on their feet, and that's going to do it. 66-28. And that was just a dominating performance from the get-go, Laura Leonard.
Complete game from end to end, and Crestwood just came right out and outscored South Tama by 11 in the first, and then never really looked back. They were dominant on the inside. Defensively, they did a really great job, and they did shut down Jessica Musgrave for the most part, and then she got rolling a little bit late, but it was just a little too late for her and her team.
The cadets, led by Sharon Goodman's 20 points, Shannon Pisney 19, 7 for Bryn Boderman, 3 for Kaylee Thomas, Emily Friesen, 2 for Laken Leinhard and Samantha Balk, Annie Mast with 1. As we're going to see the trophy presented here to South Tama and their quarterfinalist trophy.
From the IGHSAU are Gene Berger and Gary Ross. Congratulations to head coach Todd Dale and the
see
Trojans
Gary Ross
from
hand that
South
trophy
Tama
off.
on an outstanding basketball season.
Still smiling, Laura.
Well, they know they had quite an accomplishment to get here, and they worked hard, and they upset some people along the way to get here. Ran into a buzzsaw in Crestwood, but they'll be pleased with the way that they played and then what their future holds.
South Tama finishes 14 for Jessica Musgrave, 6 for Carissa Musgrave. Michaela Backen with 1, Zoe Buffalo 1, in Diego with 2, and Jalen Berger with 3. Sadie Smith finishes her career with 1 here at the state championship game. Well, guess what? We've just moved ahead just a tiny little bit. The next game not scheduled to start until 1:30. They don't start early because if you've driven from, say, Alleman of North Polk or Davenport to watch Assumption, they don't want you to miss it because the game started early. So Assumption, 16-8, North Polk 21-3 will do battle in just a moment. Then Monticello, Clear Lake, and Red Oak and Sioux Center to finish out Class 3A here at the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union State Basketball Tournament. South Tama finishes the year 15-10. The cadets improve 24-0, and they will play in the semifinal Thursday at 5 p.m. against the winner of the Knights and North Polk. That's coming your way in just a few minutes. Dar Danielson will sit back in the chair here along with Joe Danielson, and they're going to be talking about more Danielsons for North Polk. They'll tell you about that right after this. So for Laura Leonard, I'm Paul Yeager. Thank you again, Laura. Good to see you, and we'll see you here the rest of the tournament.
You bet. It's the best place to be this week.
All right, thank you. That'll do it for this broadcast, and we're back in just a few minutes. You're watching the coverage of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union here on CISN.TV, where all the games are free.
Thanks for watching our live coverage of the Iowa Girls State Basketball Tournament on the Central Iowa Sports Network. You can check CISN.TV for a replay of this game. The free coverage of today's game was presented by Mid-American Energy, Schottenkirk Chevy of Waukee, Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottlers, and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union.
And there's a travel. I expect Riley Jacobs